Hi guys, Mullahs here. So today's video, it's a follow-up video on Smart Invoice in Zambia. So when ZRA started the Smart Invoice system, I made a video where I shared my views, thoughts, opinions, and complaints about the thing. And I have gotten a lot of follow-up questions, people asking how I'm finding it, what system I'm using, and all these other things. So I thought I would make a follow-up video where I'll share my updated views on Smart Invoice as well as the system I'm using. So currently I use a platform called DigiTax. It's one of the 46 ZRA approved vendors or systems that you can use for your Smart Invoice. Um, and I'll explain why I use DigiTax and why I don't actually use the main ZRA Smart Invoice portal itself. So I'll share all the information as well as where you can find all these things. So before I even get to that, I just need to say that Smart Invoice actually does work. It is problematic here and there. I'll explain how you can try to avoid some of the problematic things and also the logic behind Smart Invoice. If you issue VAT invoices, Smart Invoice somehow does make life a little bit easier if you are someone who wants to claim back your input VAT, because all VAT invoices have to be smart invoices. And that simply means that it's easier for ZRA to verify and confirm that the correct taxpayer is claiming back their input VAT on the correct invoice and correct invoice amount. It does actually help quite a bit. So the logic and the rationale behind Smart Invoice, I do understand and appreciate, but it could just be the way it was implemented or some of the implementations that really do cause the challenges here and there. But that's a video for another day, topic for another day. So all in all, I do use Smart Invoice. I use it a lot, and let's get to it. So if you come to my screen, this is the ZRA website, www.zra.org.zn. So any information you want about Smart Invoice will be here where it says Smart Invoice. You can just hover your mouse around the Smart Invoice tab, and it's going to show the Smart Invoice menu. It's going to show you everything you need to know here. So we'll start first with the approved vendor list. So if you click on approved vendor list, it's going to bring you to this page. Now, depending on which browser, internet, and all these other factors you're using, it will either show you a document here, or you can simply come and download it here. So let me download the document. It's going to give you a document to download. Once you save it, it's going to give you a document here where certified smart invoice software vendors list. So once I open that, it's going to give you all there are 46 vendors selling smart invoice solutions. So the one I use is number 15, which is DigiTax, and the vendor is NAMIRI Technology Zambia Limited. So all their email and contact number are here. I'll leave it in the description down below as well. So again, I need to emphasize, guys, there are 46 different vendors here. And one of the main challenges with Smart Invoice is the issue of information. So one of the information gaps which is there is on the vendors, like how much does each solution cost? Uh, Digitax is a paid solution. I pay for my subscription, and I've got 3 running subscriptions, and then there are going to be 2 other subscriptions added with possibility of 2 more subscriptions being added. So it is a paid solution that I'm using, currently paying for 3, and then I'll either pay for 5 or 7 by the time I'm doing the next update. So there are 46 different vendors, and the pricing on each is really up to you to go and find out. You might need to call all 46 of them to find which one works for you. In my case, I'm using DigiTax, which is the vendor is NAMIRI Technology Zambia Limited. Then the next thing on the Smart Invoice under the ZRA page is you're going to see here that there are two online portals. There's a Smart Invoice portal and online portal. This one here, this is not an actual portal. It is the manual. It's going to show you or teach you how to use the Smart Invoice portal if you want to sign up, use and all that stuff. If you want to actually log into Smart Invoice, you're going to come here where it says Smart Invoice portal. You click on it. It's going to bring you to the Smart Invoice portal, and here you're just going to put in your TPIN and your password. Now you need to know that the criteria for the criteria for passwords under the Smart Invoice portal differs slightly from that under the ZRA portal. So you are most likely going to have a different password on the ZRA portal to the Smart Invoice portal. But your computer could actually think that they are the same login details and try to put in the wrong password in either. So you need to take note of that. You might have two different passwords, or you could have configured them to have the same type of password. So now I've put in my PIN and the password for Smart Invoice, and I'm going to log in. So when you log in, this is the Smart Invoice portal. So on the top tabs, you're going to have a lot of menu options. There are a lot. So in my case, I use this one for some of my smart invoicing, but I use DigiTax for most of my smart invoicing. So those who haven't paid for the smart invoice, this is what I use. I mean, those who haven't paid for DigiTax, this is what I use. And then those accounts where I have paid for DigiTax, I use the DigiTax one. So one of the issues with this one is adding an item. You can register and add an item. When you do that, there are a lot of menu options here, and it's not just a one-click type of arrangement. You actually do need to do a lot of clicks to register an item. So I've added 3 items already. And the other thing to note is that when you're adding an item and putting the price is always VAT inclusive. So if you have got an item that costs 100 kwacha before VAT, you need to add VAT to the price, because this system always assumes that the price is VAT inclusive. So don't make the mistake I made the first time I used this, where I added the price before VAT, and then I had a serious headache trying to find why the prices were different. So you need to know that VAT has to be on the price amount. So once you've added that, the next thing is coming to sales invoicing. Then here we'll click on sales invoice. So once you go and use another vendor or use one of those vendors for smart invoicing, you cannot use the ZRA Smart Invoice portal to issue your invoices. You're only allowed to issue on one platform at a time. So in this case, since this account is issuing invoices under DigiTax, I'm not able to issue new invoices here. I'm able to view my invoices in real time, but I can't issue invoices here. So if you haven't signed up for any of the other vendors, you can issue invoices on the ZRA Smart Invoice portal. What you can do is you can view all the invoices you have done. So if I click here and I go, let's say, to November 1st, up to date, and I search, I'll be able to see all the invoices that I've issued. And you'll see here that there are 134 invoices that I have issued. So the number is actually more than 134, and then we'll see, or rather the number is 134 as you can see here. But when we go to the other platform, you'll see that there's a lesser number, and I'll explain why. So one of the issues with the ZRA Smart Invoice portal is that in case you need to export data for VAT reporting, it is a manual process because there's no option to download uh, reports and the likes. You have to open each and every one of these invoices to get the invoice data. That is something that I don't like about the ZRA portal, and that is one reason why I use a paid smart invoice solution, DigiTax, because it has got report exporting functionality. So this is that. And then the other thing here is that in case you want to view all the invoices, you can only go in 10 by 10. So if you've got 100 or 1,000 invoices and you're looking for a particular one, you have to, go to next, or if you know which tab it is, go to that tab. So this has been my very quick rundown on the ZRA Smart Invoice portal. It works. It does have a few kinks here and there, which I think they are doing improvements on it. What I've seen is that there have been some improvements from the last iteration of this. So I'm sure as we go along, they will always be improving. And then also take note that uh, today is what? Is it 13th or 14th? Today is 14th June 2025. So if you're watching this 9 months in the future or a year in the future, there could have been a lot of additional changes to this. And then people do come and ask, Mr. Munoz, your information is wrong. As of today, this is the information that is there. So now we're going to come to DigiTax. So this is the solution that I use for my smart invoicing. So I'm going to put in my email and password. You can sign in using Facebook, Google, or a Microsoft account. In my case, I signed in using my company business email, which is not a Google, Microsoft, or Facebook account. So I'm going to log in. So the first thing when you log in is going to take you to your profile. So here in my profile, you see that I've got 5 businesses linked to my DigiTax account. And these are 5 separate businesses. So now I'll click on it and it's going to take me to the actual businesses that are linked to this account. So in this case, I've got 3 active DigiTax subscriptions. So these are 3 different paid subscriptions. You can have one profile with multiple companies, and each company needs to have their own DigiTax subscription or payment. So in my case, it's 3. Why there are 2 of this company is I accidentally opened a test account and then I had to open a live account. So there's a test account and a live account. With Smart Invoice, what I've also seen is that whatever you put in is permanent. It's near impossible you can't actually delete information. You can amend, but you can't delete. So always make sure that you do the right thing whenever you're using Smart Invoice. Otherwise, you'll have things like this where, I opened up a test company instead of a live, and then it's going to permanently be here. It's the same thing when you issue an invoice, it will permanently be there. But to edit it out, you need to either do a debit note or a credit note. So you cannot actually delete wrong invoices. They always have to remain there. So this other account, I tried to set up for DigiTax, but I never made the payment or finished the subscription, and it is why that is inactive. But otherwise, 1, 2, and 3 are very, very active and they are paid for subscriptions. So like I said, I do enjoy using DigiTax. So I'm going to add 2 more companies to this. And then there's another possibility of an additional 2, which may or may not be added. I like it because of the convenience, which I'll show you. And like I said, there are 45 other Smart Invoice vendors on the ZRA approved vendors list. I've not tried any of the others, guys. So do let me know in the comment section if you've tried them out, what your views, thoughts, and opinions are. But for the sake of practicality, reality, and realism, I just use DigiTax. It's worked for me. I've paid my subscriptions for them, and I cannot try to pay for 45 other different platforms. So I use what works for me and what is tried and tested. DigiTax has worked for me. All right, so we're going to open. This is the same company that we saw on the Smart Invoice portal, the ZRA Smart Invoice portal. So when you open it up, the first thing you're going to see are the items that you've added. And like I said, Smart Invoice, everything is permanent. If you make a mistake, it's going to be permanent. All you can do is edit the pricing, but you can't necessarily edit out the other information. Adding an item on this one is a simple case of add item, and then you're going to put an item name. If we say computer aid, let's just say CAD software. So you can just give it a name, give it an item code, whether whether you're selling a service, raw material, finished products, a service, item classification code. Here, let's say computer aided. So you can just search if you're dealing in petrol transportation, petrol storage, agriculture, anything, you can just try to search for the classification code. If you can't find it, try to refine your search to narrow it down. So here we're doing computer aided design CAD software. The unit of pricing here, you can say each or net. I prefer each. Unit measure each or net. I'm just going to go with that. Then you're also going to have value added tax, whether it's reverse VAT, standard rated, zero rated, or any of these other things. So in this case, it's standard rated. Tourism level levy, sorry, not applicable. Turnover tax, not applicable. Country is Zambia. And then also here the unit price. So unit price, remember, is VAT inclusive. If you put 100 kwacha here, it's going to take it that this is 100 kwacha inclusive of VAT. So you're going to have 80 something kwacha plus VAT to make 100 kwacha. So in case you make the mistake that I made in the past, both on the Smart Invoice portal and here, where I put a price without VAT, always remember that you have to put the price with VAT. So if it's 100 kwacha before VAT, you make sure the price is 116 kwacha. Then you can add the item and that'll be that. Next, we're going to go to sales. Sales here, the first thing we're going to see here is that the number of invoices here, 130, is different from the number of invoices on the Smart Invoice portal. The reason for that is when I started using Smart Invoice, I used the ZRA portal and I did 4 invoices before I said, this is not for me, let me find a solution, which was DigiTax. So I've issued 130 invoices here, in addition to 4 invoices I issued on the ZRA Smart Invoice. So that also does create an issue, which I saw in that the first invoice on this platform was invoice number 1, and then I had an invoice number 1 in the ZRA Smart Invoice portal. So technically, it's a clash of numbers, but it's actually not, because those are not the invoice numbers. What are the invoice numbers are these here. These are the ones that you're going to use on your VAT reporting. You're not going to use the invoice number here, 130. You're going to actually use the one with all the dashes and stuff. So that's something you need to know. The beauty with Smart Invoice is that each invoice has got a unique serial number or unique sequence number for reporting purposes. If the system does not detect this number or ref, it will tell you that it's not a valid Smart Invoice. So that's something you should know. Like I said, Smart Invoice makes it easier for those who are reporting input VAT and even those who are reporting VAT, is that you cannot record or report fake things or wrong things. The system will track them down and identify them as wrong early enough before things escalate and all. So that is that. Now, issuing a new invoice on Smart Invoice is relatively easy. Sorry, on DigiTax, you just click on Add Item. You can put the invoice date, and then you can also select the currency. So in case you have, it's a rand, Chinese yuan, or any of these other things, you can choose the currency. Then you can put here the exchange rate if it's 24.5. Just make sure, guys, that when you're putting in exchange rates, make sure that you're checking the Bank of Zambia rates, because ZRA, in case you've got a dispute with ZRA, they're going to check what the rates for the day were, and they're going to use Bank of Zambia average rates. So do not try to pick funny rates from without rates that will give you a benefit in terms of paying less tax or more tax. Always use the official Bank of Zambia rates to avoid problems. Then here you're going to pick an item from the items that you have. Just put one at random. Then here you're going to put whether there's a discount or the amount. You're going to put the amount. And then here, okay, so this one I should have just left it out, sorry. I'll leave that out. Here, let's say it's $1,000 or $116 VAT inclusive. For the, then we're going to put in the number, the quantity, just one trip. We add to the, we're going to add here, you see that it's $116 VAT inclusive. Then we're going to continue. Then here, this is something that I forgot to mention. The ZRA Smart Invoice portal, as far as I know, does not have a provision to save your clients, whereas these other paid DigiTax Smart Invoice solutions allow you to save clients. So I can just choose a client from the drop-down options. I pick one. It's going to pick their tipping, the name, the phone numbers, and all these other things. Then if I continue, the invoice will be saved in real time. So now this is another thing you need to know between the ZRA Smart Invoice portal and paid portal like the DigiTax one. So if the ZRA Smart Invoice portal is down, I can still issue invoices here. And then the invoices will be issued. And when the ZRA Smart Invoice portal is back up, the status here will change to completed. So it's going to sync and add on those things. Whereas if the ZRA Smart Invoice portal is down, it's down until it's up. So that's something that you probably should know. Okay, so there's something I almost forgot to show. When you are when you're using Digitax, you can generate a report. You can actually filter this. The filter is actually very, very useful. You can choose the dates and all that stuff. Usually I don't choose whether it's completed, pending, or failed. I just put the date and you can find all the invoices there. But here there's a generate report. So if you're filing VAT returns for the previous month or any of the other months, let's say last month, it's going to automatically populate there. I'll generate a report and it's going to send me a report via email of a CSV file with all the invoices I issued last month, which means that I can then populate that onto the ZRA template and upload the VAT return. So it's going to save me, you know, depending on the number of invoices you issue, a couple of minutes, couple of hours, couple of days, it can save you a lot of time because all the information is there. You may just need to rearrange the columns and then you can upload and all. Then the other thing with the Digitax one is you are able to see the purchases that your business has done. If you click on purchases, you're going to see all these purchases. Now, there is something that I need to just counter confirm later with Digitax is that the invoices seem to be uploaded around the same time. So here you're seeing 6th June. So all these input VAT invoices were uploaded on the 6th of June. Then all these others were uploaded on the 10th of June. Then all these others were uploaded on the 5th of June, and then the rest on the 2nd of April and 5th of March. So I've just seen that they seem to be batch uploads. So take that with a pinch of salt. You will be able to view your input VAT invoices and details, but the dates of upload, I think that's something that I need to find out how it exactly it works. It's just useful to have so that I can always check and counter check. Was there an invoice for this? Because sometimes people will give you a pro forma invoice, and then when you have made the payment for the service or the goods, then they'll issue you a smart invoice. So sometimes there could be a slippage in that you forget to always check whether the smart invoice was issued or not, and then you may miss reporting some of your input VAT. All right, so this has been the updated talk, and like I said, guys, you can use the ZRA Smart Invoice portal. You can use it, and a lot of people do use it. And then it's a great system. It works. I've actually seen the benefit of using it. I, as someone who uses a lot of fintech product services and systems, I always look at the rationale and the logic behind these platforms. I use them in a neutral manner. So I appreciate the logic, the reasoning, and the functionality that Smart Invoice offers. I may not like it, but I use it because it's mandatory and it does eventually make life easy to use and all. So, if a lot of the complaints that I've seen about Smart Invoice are people who are using the ZRA Smart Invoice portal. A lot of those complaints do not apply to me because I'm using the Smart Invoice from DigiTax. So a lot of the complaints which are on the official portal do not apply here because this one I can use it uh, offline when the official portal is down. So anyway, guys, this is about it. Do let me know in the comment section if you found the video useful, helpful, and all. And let me know in the comment section how you are finding using Smart Invoice, what challenges you're having, and any tips, tricks, or hacks that you may want to share. And then if you want me to make a follow-up video, whether on using Smart Invoice, using the ZRA portal, or using Smart Invoice using DigiTax, let me know in the comment section and I will indulge you and make that video. But without you asking or letting me know, it is difficult for me to actually make the content. And then if you do ask information about DigiTax, I can get in touch. I have actually been in touch with them on a number of issues because when I did sign up, I needed to find out how to do certain things, how to make payments, how to do XYZ. So you can ask the questions and I can ask them and try to find out for you and make a follow-up video on that. So like I've said, there are two platforms that I use for my smart invoicing. I use the ZRA portal and I use the DigiTax portal. For the clients and my accounts which I have paid for, I prefer to use the DigiTax. And then for those which haven't been paid, I have to use the ZRA Smart Invoice portal. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Unos, bye.